Nvidia calls it quits because Intel and AMD have gotten too good. Also, goodbye, Windows 10. We loved you so. And the 4060 Ti is impressive yet devastatingly troubling at the same time. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast. In today's top story, we're going to be talking about how Nvidia is now reportedly abandoning a market that it used to have some pretty good footholds in, and it's all due to the fact that Intel and AMD have continuously made year-on-year advancements in this one product category. So Nvidia is looking to sunset their MX series of laptop GPUs simply because integrated graphics have gotten too good. You can thank AMD a lot for this work with their APUs on their RX 6000 mobile stuff, especially with the RX 7000 series with RDNA 3 graphics coming up. It looks like Nvidia doesn't have a place in the market. Intel also making some strides with their XE integrated chips and making it so that these low power dedicated GPUs that used to once exist no longer really need to be serviced by Nvidia whatsoever. This used to be a pretty big deal. The MX 150, MX 250 generations all the way back in 2016, 2017 were very good chips, especially for the price point. If you wanted a cheap dedicated GPU, that was kind of the way you had to go. But now it looks like Nvidia is going to be focusing more on RTX 3050 and RTX 4050 level stuff and not the actual low-end budget stuff. They're going to leave that to AMD and Intel to take care of, but you bet your bottom dollar they probably wouldn't have done that if they had acquired ARM, and then they could make their own CPUs and integrate their own GPUs in that. But now they have to give up on it because they're not about servicing the low end. They don't care about that at all, except for what's that? Oh, Reddit found a video from 2011 of CEO Jensen Huang not having its fancy leather jacket, talking about the fact that their goal was to make GPUs as inexpensive as possible, and that now, since he has a whole lot of money, he doesn't really care about making things affordable for everybody because he already got his. What? Is that what you... Well, yeah, that's... I kind of summarize it. You can watch the 1 hour interview that Jensen Huang gave at Stanford discussing what the practicalities were of running a graphics company all the way 12 years ago, and specifically talking about how their ability to make more powerful things needed to be undercut by the fact that they had to make things more inexpensive for the every person to grab hold of their technologies. That no longer seems to be the driving mantra that they have at Nvidia, and instead it's high margins. We got to get all of the money. Give us all of the money. We need your money. And it's not that they haven't gotten better, but he does talk in this interview about how innovation was something that they were doing back then. They were doubling, they were tripling year over year. Everything was getting more powerful, but the costs were going up in association with that, so they would have to make a mental mind shift to make it more affordable, and it seems like that is no longer the case, especially as they're a publicly traded company. Things have changed, they've grown, and they can no longer be founded by idealistic visions. They have to be founded by the root of pleasing their shareholders. So looks like Nvidia is just going to abandon affordability. Hope Intel wins, doesn't quit. Battle Mage Celestial, here we go. Also AMD, please give us budget GPUs, which they haven't delivered a good budget GPU in a while either. It really in the last 3 to 4 years, Intel has been the best in the budget category, and even that still, what was $279 for the Arc A750? Like, that's not super budget, but it's at least like competitive. We're just in a bad spot, my friends. But you know what's in a good spot, my friends? Today's video sponsor, Silverstone, and they've got a whole host of new products for you to check out as they're launching them right now, including things like their Extreme 850R Platinum power supply. My friends, this is an SFX power supply that can go into mini ITX builds, and it's based on the SFX 12 volt 4.0 power supply, which means it has the new Gen 5 power connector for the RTX 40 series. It can run 24/7 at 50 degrees Celsius, ultra silent 92mm fans. It is an incredible SFX power supply for you to check out. But if you need something beefier than that, then they've also got their Gila 1300R Platinum power supplies, which are incredibly power efficient. The Platinum designation making it 80 plus Platinum. So this can power, if you want to build the beefiest 13900KS plus RTX 4090 system, the Gila 1300R can power it with 100% modular cables and all Japanese electrolytic capacitors. And if you're looking for a nice little mini ITX case to put that Extreme 850R into, they've got the Milo 12, which is now available for fitting an RTX 4090 or 4080 Founders Edition in a mini ITX ITX case, that's obscene, and it's the spiritual successor to the first case that was ever featured here on UFD Tech, the Raven RVZ01, in the first ever video that we published. So Silverstone being affectionate in my heart ever since we started this channel. They've got a whole host of new products for you to check out at the link in the video description. Big thanks to Silverstone for sponsoring today's video. Get yourself one of their new power supplies, one of their new mini ITX cases, and get good with Silverstone. That's not their tagline, but that's what I said. But that's not the only Nvidia news we have, my friends. Okay, we talked about how they're getting rid of the low-end sector. They're not caring about affordability anymore, and there were reports that were coming out that the RTX 4080 was supposed to be getting cheaper, or at least Nvidia was producing a cheaper die for it. But now the reports are coming out that yes, while it is cheaper for Nvidia to produce, they're still going to make sure that you get charged the same amount at retailer, so you're going to have to just deal with the $1,200 RTX 4080. They're not lowering the price. That's officially the unofficial word on the street that, yeah, they're just going to get more profit, which is the way of the world, unless you're here for UFD Deals, because Reece is going to lower the prices for you. Isn't that, he has direct influence with all retailers.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to UFD Deals. We're bringing the hottest tech deals out on the internet. Now, before you get settled in for your weekend, I've got a couple of deals to throw your way, starting with this ADATA XPG Lancer 32 gig kit of DDR5. This set is even faster than one we featured earlier this week, running at 6,000 megahertz at CL38 and going for only $154.99, which is $175 off. But then secondly, we have the perfect little fit if you're trying to fit 6 cores into a tiny little frame, with this AMD Ryzen 5 4600G going for only $104, which is $50 off, and honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with that. But like always, you can find the links to these deals and more in the video description down below, but I'm gonna hand you off back to Brett now for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Thanks, Reece. I'm gonna take some of that savings, load up my Android, and subscribe to Twitter Blue, because it's now available on Android. Like it was on iOS or on web, it's gonna cost $11 a month because Google also takes a cut, just like Apple does, and so Elon doesn't want to share, so he just makes it more expensive on the mobile platforms, which is a pretty normal thing to do for an application. It's not really, I don't know why I took a pot shot there. It was unnecessary. And what's going to be necessary for Windows, Microsoft, to actually transition to Windows 11 is to sunset Windows 10. And so they're doing that. You can no longer buy it as of the end of this month. They're going to stop sales of Windows 10 Home and Windows 10 Pro on their own website. You will no longer be able to purchase it from them directly. However, they are saying that they will continue to support the operating system until October 14th, 2025. Again, this is just buying it on their website. It's not clear if they're going to be selling it to OEMs or if you could purchase, third-party keys and how you'd be able to acquire it. But they really, really want you to switch to a Windows 11. Won't you please do it? And won't you please do something is what I say to myself all the time. But if I need to message myself, it's very difficult to do. WhatsApp making that easier. That was a great segue. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate your compliments there. WhatsApp's now allowing you to WhatsApp yourself so that you can send yourself links and stuff. You're gonna want this, Sydney.
I know.
See, I knew it. She messages me when she has to make a reminder to herself. And then I get these random links all of the time and I have to be like, what's this about? And she's like, don't worry, it's just for me.
I think you just need a tape that says it allows you to mess yourself.
Message yourself. Message yourself, it's all the same. WhatsApp's fixing that problem. And Amazon's fixing their problem of not having enough money by shutting down their charity giving program known as Amazon Smile, which was a link that you went to, or an extension where if you purchased on Amazon, it would take a cut of your purchase and send it out to 501c3 charities of your choice that you got to designate in your Amazon account. Amazon officially saying that this is because they don't believe that they've had the impact that they wanted to with Amazon Smile, especially because it's very difficult to gauge what your impact is when it's spread across a multitude of different charities, and they're going to be more concentrated on their charity efforts over the coming years and months, and instead focusing on things that they're choosing as opposed to what their audience is choosing. And even though the company has donated roughly $500 million to charities over the last 10 years through Smile, the average donation per charity was roughly $230 because of the large number of charities that existed. There's a lot of speculation that Amazon is not doing this due to not having impact, but rather because they need to cut costs, and so they can just make it less obvious that they're sending out all of this money, and they can give less to the charities that they're choosing, and it could just be a cost-cutting measure. It's possible. We'll have to wait and see if the public accepts this, if they like it. I've just been reading report after report from different nonprofits who are very, very upset that they're getting this cut. Amazon, for what's worth worth it for them. They're gonna be giving a lump sum payment to charities that it's based on the average that they got over the last 3 months. So they're not leaving everybody out to dry, but it's ending in February. It seems to be bad news for several different charities. And skeptical, I don't know what the right take here is. It doesn't feel right. That's my take. Inspiring words of opinion, Brett. Well done. Inspiring words of vulnerability is MSI's secure boot BIOSes are vulnerable. I need to sit in a corner and think about my segues. That one was terrible. Over 300 MSI different motherboards have been found that their secure boot will actually just approve whatever OS image you want, and that it's not actually secure at all. This is being found out by a cybersecurity student who investigated the fact that his Z790A was just not verifying anything, and then he went to investigate, is this the case in multiple BIOSes? And it turns out that, yeah, MSI's BIOSes have a significant security flaw where they will just allow things to go through, which is not what it's supposed to do. And the RTX 4060 Ti is not doing what it's supposed to do. At least initially it was thought that the 4060 Ti was gonna have a TGP, or total graphics power, of 220 watts. It's getting revised by leakers that Nvidia has actually gotten this thing a little bit more efficient to make it so that it's only gonna pull 160 watts, which is in fact 40 watts less, or 40 watts fewer than the RTX 3060 Ti. So it looks like it's gonna be more efficient than the previous generation. However, there's a lot of bummers that you're gonna have to see in the 4060 Ti versus the 3060 Ti. Number one, it's probably costs like, if the 4070 Ti is $800, then the 4070 is gonna be $700, and the 4060 Ti is gonna be $600 if you just go down based on that logic, which I don't know if you can, but $600 for a 60 Ti is obscene. Number one, it's gonna have fewer CUDA cores coming in at roughly 500 less. It's gonna have a 128-bit memory bus, which is half of that of the 3060 Ti. But normally, like, you can substitute the memory bus by increasing the RAM speed, but the total memory bandwidth's only gonna be 288 gigabytes per second, whereas the minimum on the 3060 Ti was 448. So even though it's gonna be lower power consumption, the memory's getting crapped to hell. The CUDA cores are gonna be gone. It might technically be faster by Nvidia's metrics because they're gonna pull some DLSS 3 magic out of their asses, but this is not gonna be a good, I don't like this, Jensen. All right, take us back to 2011, Jensen. No leather jacket, talking about making things affordable for the masses. That's where I wanna be back to, okay? I'm a little bummed by this. I got a little bit more salty about that last article than I thought I was going to, and I thought that I was gonna end hot news, but actually I wanna tell you guys about something. I don't think I've officially announced this on YouTube at all, but we just passed 500,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and we're actually giving away a $2,500 PC setup courtesy of NZXT. So this is a 13600K plus an RTX 4080 plus NZXT's Canvas 27F monitor. It's a whole heckin' setup. It's amazing. We're giving it away, but if you wanna win it, you have to come watch us over on Twitch, which we're live right now. We're live forever. It's just in non-stop streams. Come join us over on Twitch and you can earn points to win this gaming setup. I probably should have announced this a while ago, but you have a week. We're drawing the winner on the 27th. I'll see you next week, friends. Bye.